So I wasn't going to do a follow-up to this video, and then I realized there was a couple of things that were bugging me about the GTA offline update. First thing was, let me bring up the window here. So the first thing is when you do the update, um, even if you just pick a fairly small level, click on import map file. The UI is not responsive. You can see that it's like it's clearly doing something, but it's not updating. And I think that the problem is that this file, this in here is where am I going with this? Yeah. So the problem is that this is happening here, but it's not getting to this point. So this is doing like a whole big loop thing in here because of this map import, but it's never exiting this if statement until this is finished, which means it never gets to this point, which means it never draws the progress bar. So what I want to do in this video is I want to fix that, and that's what we're going to start doing after the fade. So there's this thread pool queue user work item thingy method, and I think that's good enough for what we want to do. This is going to run the process on a different thread, which is what we want to do because we don't want it to run on the UI thread, but we do want to interact with it in a certain way. So we're going to have to figure a way to pass messages between the window and here. So that means that now we've got this. I think the first plan is we need to have some kind of message queue to allow us to get information from the thread to the UI to update it. So we need to do that. All of this needs to come out though. And then the last thing is we need to make the scene dirty. So maybe if we pass in an action, maybe that's a better way to do it. Possibly. Maybe an idea. Because the only thing we're doing for the message is that we might need to add locks and things like that. But anyway, okay, let's think about this. So we don't want to do that inside here. What we want to do is our import map wrapper is going to be our entry point into this new UI. So we want to do thread pool, which probably means we need to add threading dot what's it called? Queue. Is it queue? Queue user work item, and it takes the callback and then the state. Can we get away with doing this, I wonder? Nah, there you go. Wait callback does not take 0 arguments. What is wait callback then? What is a wait callback? Oh, it takes a state. Okay. So what is the state going to be? The state is just going to be nothing really. It's going to be this here, and then import. So can we do this all in one? Maybe we can do this all in one. Map wrapper dot import. So this is going to queue that there. Now, what this is effectively going to do, and we can even put that probably won't I'm guessing this won't work. So the reason why I think this won't work is because it's running on a separate thread, and generally Unity doesn't like being told what to do on a separate thread. So let's see if this works. So we're going to have to be very careful with our UI here, because, or at least our importing, because we can't touch anything while it's being importing, and else bad things will happen and all that kind of stuff. So if we go to resources and just bring in New York, and then import the map file. So the UI is still responsive, and then this is the problem I thought was going to happen. So it says internal create game object can only be called from the main thread. Constructors and field initializers, blah 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 blah. So that's the problem. There is this thing here, which is creating the game object on a separate thread. So we need to figure that out. So that's going to be an issue. Because yeah, see, this is the problem with using Unity on multiple threads, is that this causes problems. Why is that not expanding? Awake or start function, okay. So in that case, I mean, we have the option of making that an external. This is inside the base constructor. This is inside the base infrastructure maker, so that's not too bad. But we want to be able to build this on. It's got to be on the main thread, which is a bit of a pain. But let me think about this one. So we've got our game object here, mesh filter. So all of this, I guess, has to be done on site inside the main thread. Where is create object called? Create object is going to be called from inside those builders, aren't they? Create object and then create object. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to serialize that create object. And I think the way we can do it is we can add it as an action and then add that to the queue and then get the queue to process that inside the window. I think this will work. Who knows? Okay, so we're going to have our wrapper here. So we need to add class, and then we'll call this action message. And we'll have public, actually it'll just be internal sealed, don't need that or that. Public action message action private read only action equals action. Public void invoke, just to keep things consistent, action dot invoke. So action is just is basically that signature, which says it doesn't return anything and it doesn't take any parameters. That's the signature that we're invoking here. So now inside our window, we're going to have this is where it gets a bit multi-thready and a bit horrible, and we might not need locks, but I'm going to add one anyway. And the easiest way to add a lock is you've got your private object lock equals new object. That's going to be our locking object. And what that means is it means that no thread can access, a thread is blocked until that lock has been removed. And then we're going to have our private list, and then action message, actions, and we'll add our generic equals new, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll have public void add message, action message, lock. So this lock keyword, I'll let it hover over there. Why is it not showing me that? The lock keyword, basically, that's the what's used to be called a mutex. It says that you can't enter this block of code until no one else can access the objects inside this block of code until the block of code has been completed. So when we add our messages, actions, that's what we're doing inside there. So we're not able to do it. Why is that saying inconsistent? Is less accessible. Oh, right, okay. Let's call it internal. So that's our actions message there. And then inside our main, so this is the update happens on the main thread. So now we can do lock, and then for each var action in actions, action.invoke, actions.clear. So every frame, if we get an action, then it gets added. Well, it gets added. So let's say we get 15 actions. So in this frame here, we're gonna go through each one of those 15 actions, invoke them, and then we're gonna clear the list, and then that's all going to be locked. So the next time it becomes unlocked, the other thread can then add those actions on there. So hopefully it should make it a bit more responsive. Things that I want to what do I want to implement here? I want to add a couple of other internals here. So I want to say internal void start import, and then that's going to be add message, new action message, and then the action is going to be importing equals true, and then internal void end import, add message, new action message, importing equals false. And then finally, again, I need to do this because I've got a funny feeling that if I don't do it this way, then Unity is not going to like it. I need to make that get called once the import is finished. So in our end import, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that as being a bit more complicated and say that that's that there. So that's going to run on the main thread and not this action. All these actions run on the main thread, but they're all put on in the child thread. So importing map wrapper. Map wrapper is that. So for import, I want to say window dot begin import, start import, and then at the very end there, I want to say window dot end import, and that will flag those that will flag that we're beginning the import and we're starting the import. The next thing we need to do though is for each one of these windows, we're going to have to process that. So instead of process, this is going to be bad. I need to get roadmaker, create object. Pardon me. So I need to figure out how to get that out. I need to get this out somehow. So I don't want to change this class too much, or my hope is I don't want to change this class too much. So maybe what I want to do is I want to have some kind of create object in here, but I want to call this, I want to make that an action that I add to this object. So I think my import wrapper, let's have this as being public void add action. And we need system in here as well. And then that is going to be window.add message, new action message, action. And then for process, what I want to do is I want to pass in this class. And ideally, you probably want to make it an interface rather than like just the wrapper, but for this purposes, it's fine. Import map wrapper, and then for our road maker, we take that in there, and then for our building maker, we take that in there as well. And then this is the tricky bit. We say var action equals is that maybe we have to wrap that around this. Why is it not working? Okay, probably doesn't like it, that's why. Using system. Oh, that's so many braces. That can't be right. Surely we should get away with that. No? No, doesn't like it. Okay, fine. That's a bit of a pain, but never mind. And then we do map wrapper dot add action. So now we need to do the same thing for our road maker. So we do var action equals, and then we cast it to an action, which is all of this, that there, and then we add our system there. So again with the lambdas, so we're saying that we want to, at some point in the future, we want to run this action with these values But we don't want to run it immediately, because if we run it immediately, then we're going to run it on this thread, and if we run it in this thread, then all hell's going to break loose. And all that we're wanting to do here is we want to get that progress bar to show. This is the only reason we're going through this whole multi-thread process. Wrapper add action. All right, so that should be good. Shouldn't be any errors. Wouldn't have thought. Okay, so let's clear that, and then we'll do open map data, and then we'll choose resources. Let's choose Epcot, and then we'll run that. And it takes a bit of time to load the file. And we see our progress bar. So there's repaint can only be called to the main thread. Okay, well that's good. That's okay. So instead of that update, what we need to do now is we need to send a message to do the update. So import wrapper, and then it says report update progress. So what we're going to do in here is instead of doing all of this, what we're going to do is we're going to say var action equals actually it's just going to be add message, and then that is going to be all of this, that there. Why you know like? Let's wrap everything inside there. Seems a bit like hard work. Oh, that's why. What I need to do is read my own instructions. So that's going to be action message, which takes in that. Okay. So there's our new action message, which takes in this, and then that will then run on the main thread, and we won't get any conflicts. So let's close that, do a new, wait for it to compile, import the map data, resources, Epcot, import map file. So we need to make that button not do that. Well, I mean, it worked, but we still didn't get a progress bar, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. Import map wrapper, start import. Importing is true, and then let me do a repaint in here as well. That there, that there. Okay, so just to force it to repaint, and we'll do the same thing here as well to do a repaint, just to make it update. I think the problem is the on GUI is not getting called, and that's the issue. Let me get rid of all of that. And okay, do new, and wait for it to compile. Okay. And resources, Epcot. There we go. So So it's still not updating the progress bar. It is, oh, well, there you go. It did, at the very end there, did the wee bloop update, but it is, the nice thing though is, don't save there, and then import that file. You see that it is responsive. You can still like move that around. Even while it's updating. So don't save, and then import map file. And you can see you can still move everything, you can still click, and everything's still responsive. Meanwhile, it's doing it in the background. Still need to fix that progress bar because that's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. So let's call reset progress to start with. So reset progress is going to be add message, new action message, and then that, and then that. So that's our new action message for reset progress, which we're going to call from here. So Windows start import, add message that, and then we want to do reset progress. So we'll do reset progress, and then we'll add our message. So we only need to do one thing there. So start import does the start import flag and also resets the progress. So that's good. Then we read in the map file, and then we process it, and then we update the process progress. Update progress, repaint. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Unless it's all zeros, which we can actually display out. So we can put out print, oh no we can't, debug.log progress. So we can make sure what we're getting is valid data. So again, importing that. Got import map file. So it takes a while to bring that in there. Yeah, see that progress is not good. So whatever that is, does it ever get to 1? Or no, it does get to 1. So this one here, there you go, it does get to 1. And then it starts again at 0 because it's getting that there. Okay. Maybe what we need to do is, instead of having repaint there, let's not have repaint there. Where's the other repaints? Let's not have repaint there either. And then let's not have repaint there. And the reason why I'm removing repaint there is because what we want to do is we want to have repaint in here. So it always repaints after we get our actions. So actually let's do if actions dot count is greater than 0, repaint. Oops. So we only repaint if we have more than one action, because then we've got something to react to. We've done something. And I'm wondering if it's because it constantly does the repaint that nothing actually happens. We'll see. So it's waiting to do the import the file. No, still not doing the update. I mean, it is working. It is actually updating those values there. Let's cheat. Inside our process. This is the wrapper. I want the window. There's the window there. So if you're importing, what we want to do is editor GUI layout dot label field string dot format, and we can do 0, and then I think let me look this up. Steve X C# format. What is percentage? I think it's just percent. Where are we? Yeah, there. That's percent. Okay. So we want that as a percent. So we do 0%, comma, progress. So this will display, let's change that to current progress. Okay. And then we'll change that to 1 as well, and we'll put in progress text. So it'll show current progress and then the percent followed by what we're actually importing. In a vague hope, vague, vague, whatever, in hope that somehow it prints it out. Okay, so import map file. So current progress is 0. It's importing it, and okay. I mean, I feel at this point we're just slowing it down to make it readable. Import map file. Current progress is 0. Yeah, I mean, maybe it just doesn't take that long to import things. Maybe we're stuck with that. So anyway, we now have a nice pink import. And we also have it multi-threaded, which is the sort of end goal of that. So yeah, that didn't take that long. What is that? Half an hour, something like that. So yeah, multi-threaded stuff in Unity. So hopefully that video was helpful. I certainly think it works a lot better than it did before because we can actually sort of see what we're importing, and also it works in the background thread, so we're not killing the UI. It's still responsive, and yeah, I think that's a win. So I'm gonna give it a thumbs up and invite you to do the same. See what I did there? Nice segue. So thank you for watching the video. Like I said, thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't like it, and yeah, it's a video to show you how that you could get multi-threading to work inside Unity. The key takeaway though is, and I just want to let me just go back over it rather than doing this sort of straight outro that I normally do here. The key thing here is you need to add effectively a message queue. So a message queue is just a list. That's all it is. It's just a list and a lock. And you have a lock when you add things to your list. So that's one line there. That's very simple. It's just adding it to the list. And then you have a lock when you process the list. And you want to process everything inside the update function because that gets called on the main on the main Unity thread. And because it gets called in the main Unity thread, that means there's no context conflict between creating game objects and all that kind of stuff. So that's the sort of key takeaway there is you place things on any thread you want. It doesn't matter where you place it, but you have to run it in the main Unity thread, which is inside the update function for your mono behavior or for your editor function, whatever one it is. It's got to be running on the update function. Then to actually get multi-threading to work, and this is where C# wins over other languages like C++, is getting queues getting threads and multi-threaded tools and all that kind of stuff to work. It's actually not too difficult, and like I said, the elapsed time for this video is probably about 20 minutes really. Is the thread pool. So this is you asking the thread pool of the system to give you some processing on another thread that you can then work through. Use that as a background thread. So this thread is completely separate to the main Unity thread, which means that it's free to do all the updates that it needs to do. So you can show menus, you can add objects to your scene if you want, you can do all that kind of crazy stuff, normal stuff. Meanwhile, in the background, you're actually importing something. So everything stays responsive while you're doing extra processing. So it's a really good system to use there. And the other thing is, the other thing of the two things that are key things is that when you're adding a message, don't add it directly to your list. So you'll see here that I have start import, and start import calls add message, which does the right thing. So add message always adds it through a lock, and that's the sort of other sort of third key thing of the two key things that you should remember. Is that you want to make sure there's only one entry point into your list, and really there's only one exit point in the processing part of it, and they're both wrapped around with locks. So that was how the sausage gets made there. It's OBS. That's all there is from me. So yeah, if you liked the video, I think I said that before, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, thumbs down. If you really liked me saying thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. If you didn't like me saying thumbs up, thumbs down, then don't bother commenting, please, because I understand. And if you made it this far in the end of this video, the super secret keyword is Django. If you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe. There's no pressure on whether you want to subscribe or not, but it helps the channel and all that kind of stuff. And there's a button up there, or down there, or down there. I can't remember where it is. But if you hit that button, then hit the notify, you'll get timely reminders. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Codehoose, CODEHOOSE, on Twitter, and you get timely reminders of the videos from there if you don't want to follow me on YouTube. And I think that's it. I think I've run out of things to say on this topic. So I will thank you again. Keep coding, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.